Commander Ethan Phillips stood perfectly still on the bridge of the UES Horizon. His eyes were fixed on the massive view screen that showed the approaching alien vessel. It was 3 times larger than the horizon and shaped like a giant silver teardrop. The bridge crew barely breathed as they waited. "First contact," whispered Lieutenant Ryan Davis from the communication station. "Never thought I'd see the day." Ethan nodded but kept his thoughts to himself. After 20 years in the United Earth Defense Force, he had learned to prepare for the worst while hoping for the best. The discovery of faster-than-light travel just 5 years ago had hurled humanity into the stars, and now they faced their first encounter with intelligent alien life. "They're hailing us again, sir," said Ryan. "Put them through," Ethan ordered, straightening his dark blue uniform. The view screen flickered, revealing a being with blue-tinted skin and large almond-shaped eyes. Behind it stood 3 other aliens of different species, one covered in short fur, another with scaled skin, and a third that seemed to shimmer like water. "Greetings, humans of Earth," the blue alien spoke in perfect English. "I am Council Representative Zulara of the Viridians. We welcome you to the greater galactic community." Dr. Lily Warren stepped forward, her red hair pulled back in a tight bun. As Earth's lead sinolinguist, she had spent months developing translation protocols. "How are you speaking our language?" she asked. "We have been observing your world since you achieved nuclear capability," Zulara explained. "The Galactic Council monitors all developing worlds. When you discovered faster-than-light travel, it triggered our first contact protocols." Ambassador Joseph Miller moved to stand beside Ethan and Lily. His weathered face showed no emotion, though Ethan knew the diplomat must be both excited and terrified. "What exactly is this Galactic Council?" Joseph asked. "We are a federation of 17 advanced species who govern this sector of the galaxy," Zulara answered. "We have existed for over 20,000 of your Earth years, and now we extend an invitation for humanity to join our ranks." The meeting lasted for hours. The council representatives explained their structure, their laws, and their expectations. They seemed impressed by humanity's rapid technological progress, but wary of their military capabilities. Back in the briefing room, Ethan, Lily, and Joseph gathered with the senior staff to discuss the meeting. "They're hiding something," Ethan said, pacing the room. "Did you notice how they changed the subject when we asked about other species that weren't part of the council?" Lily nodded, reviewing her notes. "And their technology is far more advanced than they're letting on. The energy readings from their ship suggest capabilities they haven't mentioned." Joseph sighed, rubbing his tired eyes. "Politics is politics, even among the stars. We need to tread carefully." Some of those council members looked at us like we were dangerous animals they were considering putting down. On the other side of the galaxy, on a space station orbiting a red giant star, 5 members of the Galactic Council's inner circle met in secret. "The humans developed too quickly," said High Commander Vrax of the Krell Imperium, his armored exoskeleton clicking as he moved. "Their weapons technology progressed from atomic bombs to directed energy weapons in less than a century. No other species has advanced at such a rate. They evolved on a particularly hostile world," noted Elder Xilrax, the oldest member of the council. "Their history is filled with constant warfare. They do not fight like our species do." "What do you mean?" asked a representative of the peaceful Atraxians. "Most galactic conflicts are about resources, territory, or ideology," Xilrax explained. "Humans fight differently. They do not seek to win wars. They eliminate threats entirely. Their conflicts end only when their enemies can no longer pose any danger." Vrax's compound eyes narrowed. "We should study them further before allowing them full access to council technology. Perhaps a test of their capabilities would be prudent." "What are you suggesting?" asked Zulara, who had just returned from the first contact mission. "Nothing extreme," Vrax replied, though his mandibles clicked in what passed for a smile among the Krell. "Just a small demonstration to see how humans respond to pressure. After all, the council must know what we're dealing with." Zilara looked troubled but said nothing. The plan was already in motion. Back on the horizon, Ethan gazed out at the stars, unaware that humanity's greatest test was about to begin. 6 months had passed since first contact. Ambassador Joseph Miller walked the grand hallways of the Galactic Council station, his footsteps echoing on the polished stone floor. The massive space station orbited a neutral star at the center of Council space, home to representatives from all 17 member species. Joseph had learned quickly that galactic politics were just as complicated as Earth politics, only with more tentacles and compound eyes involved. He adjusted his formal diplomatic uniform and entered the main chamber where today's alliance discussions would take place. Ambassador Miller, "Welcome," said Zilara of the Viridians. Her blue skin seemed to glow under the chamber lights. "I trust your accommodations remain satisfactory." "Very much so, thank you," Joseph replied with a practiced smile. He had grown to like Zilara. The Viridians valued knowledge and scientific advancement above all else, making them natural allies to humanity's curious nature. Across the chamber stood Krell Representative Vrax, his exoskeleton gleaming with military decorations. The Krell had made no secret of their distrust of humans. Behind Vrax stood 2 Saurian delegates, scaled and muscular beings, who controlled a dozen resource-rich worlds on the outer rim. "The Atraxians wish to speak with you privately," Zilara whispered. "They have information they believe Earth should know." Later that cycle, Joseph met with the Atraxian representative, a slender being with 4 arms and calm, wide eyes. "We have friends in many places," the Atraxian said softly. "Our traders hear things. The Krell speak of testing human military response. They plan to use the Saurians as their instrument." Joseph thanked the Atraxian and immediately sent an encrypted message to Admiral Victoria Hayes back on Earth. Victoria had been preparing Earth's defenses since first contact, never fully trusting the Council's peaceful intentions. "A proxy war," Victoria said during their secure communication. "Classic move. They want to see how we fight without getting their own hands dirty. The Krell have dominated Council military policy for centuries," Joseph explained. "They see us as a potential rival." "Let them watch then," Victoria replied, "but we won't dance to their tune." On the science deck of the Council station, Dr. Eric Summers accessed the Galactic Archives. As Earth's Sino-historian, he had been granted limited access to study the Council's past. What he found disturbed him. "There are gaps," he told Joseph in his quarters that night. "Entire species mentioned in early records that simply disappear from later ones. No explanation, no follow-up. Extinct?" Joseph asked. "No," Eric said, lowering his voice. "Erased. I found fragments of security protocols labeled containment procedures for dangerous species. The dates match when these civilizations vanished from records." Joseph felt a chill. "You think the Council eliminates species they consider threats?" "I think we need to be very careful," Eric replied. 2 days later, an urgent message arrived from Proxima Centauri IV, Earth's furthest colony. It was under attack by Saurian warships. The colony's director, Frank Morris, reported civilian casualties and requested immediate military support. Captain Olivia Rodriguez of the UES Defender received orders to respond. Her ship was the closest to Proxima, just 3 light hours away. "Rules of engagement, Admiral," Olivia asked Victoria through the quantum communicator. "Protect our people at all costs," Victoria said. "But remember Protocol Sentinel. We don't just win battles, we end threats." Olivia understood. Earth had developed warfare differently than other species. Growing up on a death world had taught humans not to fight prolonged wars of attrition, but to decisively eliminate threats so they never returned. As the UES Defender dropped out of FTL near Proxima Centauri IV, Olivia addressed her crew. "The Saurians expect an easy victory against what they believe is an inexperienced species," she said calmly. "They'll soon learn that humans don't fight to win wars. We fight so we never have to fight the same enemy twice." In the Council Observation Chamber, several representatives gathered to watch the conflict, curious about human warfare capabilities. None realized they were about to witness something that would forever change how the galaxy viewed humanity. Proxima Centauri IV burned. 3 Saurian warships hung in orbit, their weapons raining destruction on the human colony below. Colony Director Frank Morris coordinated evacuations from an underground bunker, his face lit by emergency lights. "Get everyone to the shelters," he ordered. "The UES Defender will be here soon." The colony had been established just 2 years ago, home to 20,000 settlers. Now they faced extinction at the claws of the Saurian Collective, a species known for territorial aggression and merciless tactics. In the observation chamber of the Galactic Council Station, representatives watched the attack through real-time quantum feeds. The Krell delegation stood with mandibles clicking in what passed for satisfaction. "The humans will fight conventionally," High Commander Vrax predicted. "They will lose many lives defending their territory, then surrender or retreat. All new species do." Zilara of the Viridians looked troubled. "This attack violates Council law. The Saurians had no territorial claim to Proxima Centauri." "A regrettable misunderstanding, I'm sure," Vrax replied. "The Collective has already filed claims stating they believe the system was within their expansion zone." The Atraxian representative said nothing, but exchanged knowing glances with Dr. Eric Summers, who stood at the back of the chamber documenting the proceedings. The UES Defender dropped out of FTL at the edge of the Proxima Centauri system. Captain Olivia Rodriguez surveyed the tactical display showing 3 Saurian warships. "Standard Saurian attack formation," her tactical officer reported. "Our scans show their shields are focused forward. Their rear defenses are minimal." Olivia nodded. "They expect us to charge in for a frontal assault to protect our colony." She smiled slightly. "That's not how we fight. Deploy the Whispers." 6 small, dark objects detached from the Defender, their stealth systems making them nearly invisible against the void of space. These were autonomous weapon platforms, products of Earth's unique military doctrine. While the alien races of the galaxy had developed warfare around ship-to-ship combat and planetary bombardment, humans had evolved different strategies on their war-torn homeworld. They understood asymmetric warfare, surgical strikes, and the importance of command structures. The Whispers approached the Saurian vessels from multiple vectors, completely undetected. Each carried a specialized payload designed to target the specific vulnerabilities of Saurian technology that Earth intelligence had identified months ago. In the Council Observation Chamber, the gathered representatives leaned forward, expecting to see the human vessel charge into battle. "Where is their ship going?" asked an observer as the Defender moved away from the colony rather than toward it. Suddenly, all 3 Saurian vessels went dark simultaneously. Their weapons stopped firing, their engines shut down, and their communications fell silent. "What happened?" demanded Vrax, his compound eyes widening. On the bridge of the UES Defender, Olivia received confirmation. "Whispers report successful deployment. All Saurian ships have been neutralized. Their power cores are safely contained, preventing self-destruction." "Good," Olivia said. "Deploy the boarding teams. I want their command crews secured and their ships under our control within 30 minutes. Back in the observation chamber, stunned silence gave way to urgent whispers. The Saurian fleet had been completely disabled without a single shot fired directly from the human vessel. "Impossible," Vrax hissed. "No species has the technology to disable multiple warships simultaneously without destroying them." Dr. Summers stepped forward. "You misunderstand humanity, Commander. You expected us to fight to win a battle. Humans don't think that way." "What do you mean?" asked Zilara. "When humans go to war, they don't aim to win battles," Dr. Summers explained. "They aim to eliminate the enemy's ability to continue fighting altogether. In human history, the most decisive victories didn't come from destroying armies, but from making them unable or unwilling to fight." As they watched, human boarding parties secured the Saurian ships. The entire engagement had lasted less than an hour, with 0 human casualties and minimal Saurian losses. It wasn't just a victory, it was a statement. The council representatives exchanged nervous glances. This was warfare unlike anything the galaxy had seen before. The Grand Council chamber buzzed with agitated voices. Representatives from all 17 member species filled the tiered seats, their conversations creating a storm of sound. At the center stood a circular platform where senior council member Xilrax called for order. "This emergency session will come to order," Xilrax announced, his ancient voice cutting through the noise. The chamber gradually fell silent. His 4 eyes blinked slowly as he surveyed the gathered representatives. "We are here to discuss the incident at Proxima Centauri and the wider implications of human military capabilities," he continued. "The reports have been distributed to all members." The massive view screen behind him activated, showing footage of the human response to the Saurian attack. The gathered representatives watched again as the UES Defender deployed its whisper devices, completely neutralizing 3 warships without direct engagement. "This technology violates no existing Council weapons treaties," noted Zilara of the Viridians. "The humans used non-destructive means and minimized casualties." High Commander Vrax rose from his seat, his exoskeleton clicking as he moved to the speaker's position. "The issue is not what weapons they used, but how they used them. The humans showed capabilities far beyond what a species at their development stage should possess. Their tactics are disturbing," added the representative from the collective mind of Barax, a hive mind species from the Outer Rim. "They did not fight to win. They fought to render their enemy completely helpless." Dr. Diana Powell, recently appointed to assist Dr. Summers as Earth's representative to the Scientific Council, requested permission to speak. The human woman approached the central platform, her dark skin contrasting with her white science uniform. "If I may address the Council's concerns," she began. "Earth evolved as an unusually hostile environment by galactic standards. Our history has been shaped by this reality." She activated her data pad, and the view screen changed to show Earth's violent geological history: volcanic eruptions, ice ages, asteroid impacts. Unlike many Council worlds, Earth has experienced 5 major extinction events before humans even evolved, she explained. "Our biology is built to survive extreme conditions, and our psychology developed to overcome existential threats." Xilrax leaned forward. "This explains your physiology, Dr. Powell, but not your approach to warfare." "Actually, it explains both," she replied. "Most galactic species evolved in stable environments, where resources were the primary competition driver. Wars were about territory, resources, or ideology." She changed the display to show scenes from human history. Humans evolved in an environment where survival itself was constantly in question. When we face threats, our instinct isn't to fight for advantage. It's to ensure the threat cannot harm us again. The chamber grew uncomfortably quiet. "In human history," Dr. Powell continued, "the most successful military leaders weren't those who won the most battles, but those who ended wars decisively by targeting the enemy's ability to continue fighting." Ambassador Joseph Miller joined her on the platform. "The Council must understand that humans have no desire for conquest or aggression. We responded to an unprovoked attack with measured force designed to end the conflict with minimal loss of life." High Commander Vrax's mandibles clicked rapidly. "Yet you possess weapons that can completely neutralize our most advanced warships. What assurance do we have that you won't use these capabilities against Council members?" "The same assurance you give us," Joseph replied evenly. "Mutual respect and adherence to galactic law. We seek peaceful cooperation, not conflict." As the debate continued, Dr. Summers studied the reactions of the various representatives. The Atraxians and Viridians seemed genuinely interested in understanding human perspective. The Krell and their allies appeared threatened. Most concerning were the species who simply looked afraid. "They fear what they don't understand," whispered Zilara, who had moved to stand beside him. "No," Dr. Summers replied quietly. They fear what they understand all too well. Humans don't fight wars to win them. We fight to permanently remove threats. And to a galaxy accustomed to cyclical conflicts and territorial disputes, that's a terrifying concept. Outside the chamber, news of the human response at Proxima Centauri spread throughout Council space, changing forever how the galaxy viewed its newest member species. The Mars orbital shipyard gleamed in the sunlight, a massive structure where Earth built its growing fleet of interstellar vessels. 3,000 engineers, technicians, and support staff worked there daily, constructing the ships that carried humanity to the stars. In his private chamber aboard the Krell flagship, High Commander Vrax finalized his plan. His compound eyes reflected the holographic display showing the shipyard's defensive systems. The attack must appear to be the work of non-council forces, he told his officers. Our involvement cannot be detected. The humans will suspect us regardless, said his second-in-command. Suspicion is not proof, Vrax replied. The council requires evidence to act. By the time they find any, the humans will have revealed their true nature by retaliating blindly, confirming they are too dangerous to exist in civilized space. 24 hours later, 3 unmarked ships appeared near the Mars shipyard. They bore no identification but used stolen Saurian technology. Before the station's defenses could respond, they launched their weapons. The explosions tore through the shipyard's main hub. Emergency systems activated, but many sections were exposed to vacuum. Lives winked out by the hundreds as the attackers struck with surgical precision before vanishing into FTL. News of the attack reached Earth within minutes. In the Global Defense Command Center beneath Washington, Vice Admiral Nathan Green received the casualty reports with a grim expression. 3,000 dead, he told the emergency response team. No survivors. President Sophia Allen joined the briefing via secure channel from the White House. We have reason to believe the Krell orchestrated this attack, Green informed her. The tactics matched their doctrine, though they used proxies to maintain deniability. What is our response? The president asked quietly. I recommend implementing Protocol Omega, Green replied. We anticipated something like this after the Proxima Centauri incident. President Allen closed her eyes briefly. Authorized. But I want proof of Krell involvement before we execute the final stages. Lieutenant Bennett's team is already working on that, Green assured her. Lieutenant Samantha Bennett led Earth's Special Intelligence Unit, a group of analysts and field operatives specialized in extraterrestrial threats. They had been monitoring Krell communications since first contact. We need to trace the attack ships, she told her team as they gathered in their secure operations center. Follow the energy signatures, track any unusual communications, find the money trail. The Krell didn't do this alone. Her team worked tirelessly, analyzing quantum communication patterns and tracking suspicious movement through Council space. They followed shell companies that purchased weapons components and traced unusual energy emissions from supposedly inactive Krell military bases. On the Galactic Council station, Ambassador Miller received a priority message from Earth. He read it twice, his face hardening. He requested an immediate meeting with the Council's inner circle. Earth has suffered an unprovoked attack, resulting in 3,000 civilian deaths, he informed them, his voice steady despite his anger. We have evidence suggesting Krell involvement. High Commander Vrax stood immediately. These are baseless accusations. The Krell Empire categorically denies any involvement in this regrettable incident. The attack bears all the hallmarks of Krell military doctrine, Miller replied. We request the Council conduct a formal investigation and impose appropriate sanctions. The Council members glanced at each other uneasily. The Krell controlled nearly 30% of the Council's military forces. Few wished to challenge them without absolute proof. We will need substantial evidence before taking action against a founding Council member, Silrax said carefully. Miller's eyes narrowed slightly. I understand. Earth will provide all the evidence we gather. What he didn't say was that Earth had already decided on a response. 5 days after the Mars attack, Lieutenant Bennett's team presented their findings to the leadership. "We have proof," she told them, displaying the evidence on the command center's main screen. Financial transactions, communication logs, movement records. The Krell orchestrated the entire attack. Vice Admiral Green nodded. "Then we proceed with Protocol Omega. The Krell believe they understand human warfare from studying our history. They're about to learn they understand nothing." Across Earth's military bases, a signal went out. The Sentinel Defense Network, hidden from Council knowledge, activated. Earth's response had begun. Ambassador Joseph Miller stood before the full Galactic Council Assembly. Behind him played a detailed presentation showing the evidence of Krell involvement in the Mars shipyard attack. Financial records, communication logs, movement patterns, and energy signatures formed an undeniable chain of proof. "The evidence speaks for itself," Joseph said as he concluded. "The Krell Empire orchestrated an unprovoked attack, resulting in 3,000 civilian deaths. Earth formally requests the Council impose maximum sanctions under galactic law." The chamber erupted in murmurs. High Commander Vrax rose from his seat, mandibles clicking in anger. "These so-called proofs could easily be fabricated," he argued. "The humans seek to turn the Council against us because..." The days following the neutralization of the Krell military saw the Galactic Council in unprecedented crisis. Emergency sessions ran continuously as representatives struggled to come to terms with what had happened. The humans had demonstrated capabilities far beyond what anyone had expected from such a young species. Dr. Diana Powell walked the ancient halls of the Council archives alongside Dr. Eric Summers. They had been granted access to sections previously restricted to them, a concession born of the new reality rather than trust. "Look at this," Eric said, his voice hushed with disbelief. He pointed to holographic records showing images of a species neither had seen before. Tall, elegant beings with six-fingered hands and luminous eyes. "The Altarians," Diana read from the ancient text. "I thought they were just legends." "They were real," Eric replied. "And according to these records, they were eliminated by Council forces over 3,000 years ago, after being deemed excessively dangerous to galactic stability." Diana studied the records more carefully. "Their technology, it's remarkably similar to our Sentinel network. They developed non-destructive methods of neutralizing threats, which the Council found more threatening than conventional weapons," Eric concluded grimly. In another section of the station, Captain Gregory Taylor led his diplomatic security team through a routine sweep. Since the Krell incident, security protocols had been heightened. His team carried advanced scanning equipment that detected energy patterns, life forms, and technological signatures. "Sir, I'm picking up something unusual," reported his second, Lieutenant Lucy Foster, 3 decks down, behind the maintenance section. "It's shielded, but the pattern matches the energy signature of Krell weapon systems." Gregory frowned. "That area isn't on any official station schematics." His team moved quietly through service corridors until they reached a sealed door with no markings. Their scanners confirmed what lay beyond: a massive weapons storage facility containing technology specifically designed to target Earth ships. "How long has this been here?" Gregory wondered aloud, documenting everything with his neural interface. "Based on the dust patterns and power consumption records, at least 4 months," Lucy answered. Meanwhile, in the main council chamber, Ambassador Miller addressed the full assembly. The mood was tense, with many representatives openly fearful of humanity's capabilities. "We understand your concerns," Joseph began. "Earth's response to the Krell aggression was unexpected by Council standards. But there's something more urgent we need to discuss." He activated a holographic display in the center of the chamber. It showed records of the Altarians and other species that had been deliberately erased from galactic history. "We know about the species you've eliminated," he said calmly as shocked murmurs spread through the chamber. "We know about the secret weapons facility on this very station, designed specifically to target Earth." Stilorax rose from his seat, his ancient face showing alarm. "How did you?" "We've known for months," Joseph interrupted. "We detected it shortly after arriving on this station, yet we chose diplomacy first." The revelation stunned the Council into silence. Humans have been aware of the Council's contingency plans against us from the beginning, Diana added, stepping forward to join Joseph. "We monitored your communications, analyzed your technologies, and prepared accordingly." "Yet you didn't act against us," Zalara observed, her blue skin pale with shock. "Because we don't seek enemies," Joseph explained. "We have no desire for conquest or control. We want peaceful cooperation." He paused, looking around the chamber. "But those who make themselves our enemy should understand something crucial. Humans don't declare war. We don't seek conflicts. But those who threaten us cease to be factors in our universe." The implications sank in. Earth hadn't just neutralized the Krell military. They could have done the same to the entire Council at any time. In a private chamber off the main hall, Dr. Summers showed Zalara and representatives from the Atraxians the complete Altarian records they had recovered. "The Altarians weren't warmongers," he explained. "They simply approached defense differently, just as we do. The Council feared what they didn't understand. And now we fear you for the same reason," Zalara admitted. "Fear leads to poor decisions," Eric replied gently. "The Council eliminated the Altarians rather than trying to understand them. They nearly made the same mistake with Earth." The Atraxian representative's 4 eyes blinked thoughtfully. "Perhaps it is time for the Council to change. The old ways have not served us as well as we believed." 1 year passed since the Krell incident. The Galactic Council station had changed dramatically. Where once the ancient chambers had been decorated with symbols of the founding species, now the walls displayed art and cultural artifacts from all member worlds, including Earth. The changes went far deeper than mere decoration. Admiral Victoria Hayes walked the corridors beside Zalara, who now served as the newly appointed Council Chair. The Viridian had been elected after the Council reforms, replacing the system of power that had ruled for thousands of years. "The integration of human defense doctrine is proceeding well," Victoria reported as they entered the Strategic Command Center. 17 species have adopted the preventative security protocols. The center itself was new, created to replace the secret facilities that had once existed throughout the station. Here, representatives from all species work together to monitor potential threats and develop unified responses. "And the Krell?" Zalara asked quietly. "Recovering," Victoria replied. "Their civilian government has stabilized under Joint Council supervision. Their military remains demilitarized, but they contribute scientists and engineers to common defense projects." In another section of the station, Dr. Diana Powell and Dr. Eric Summers led a team of multi-species researchers studying ancient Altarian texts recovered from sealed Council archives. The texts had been hidden away for millennia, deemed too dangerous for general knowledge. Their warnings were specific, Diana told the gathered scientists. They detected something beyond the galaxy's edge, something that had destroyed other galaxies. Eric nodded, pointing to the translated symbols. The Altarians developed their neutralization technology not for internal conflicts, but as defense against this external threat. The Council misunderstood their purpose entirely. A young Krell scientist named Vex raised a question. Once part of their weapons development division, he now applied his knowledge to defensive systems. "Could this threat be the cause of the empty zones we've detected in neighboring galaxies?" he asked. "The regions where stars simply stop shining." Diana nodded gravely. "The evidence suggests something is systematically extinguishing star systems at the outer reaches of observable space." In the main council chamber, Ambassador Joseph Miller, now serving as Earth's permanent representative, addressed the full assembly. The chamber structure had been redesigned, removing the hierarchical tiers that once separated senior and junior species. Now all representatives sat in a circular arrangement that emphasized equality. "The Galactic Preservation Initiative has completed its first phase," Joseph announced. Early warning beacons have been deployed in the void between our galaxy and Andromeda. If something is approaching from beyond, we will know. The initiative had been Joseph's proposal, focusing galactic resources on external threats rather than internal competition. Under his leadership, ancient rivalries have been set aside in favor of cooperative security. We face an uncertain future, he continued, but we face it united, not divided. The old council feared difference and sought to control it. The new council embraces diverse approaches as our greatest strength. Captain Olivia Rodriguez, recently promoted to fleet commander, watched from the side of the chamber. Her ships now carried mixed crews from multiple species, combining the best traits and knowledge of each. "Do you think we're ready?" she asked Captain Gregory Taylor, who stood beside her. "If these Altarian mornings are correct, we're readier than we would have been," he replied. A year ago, the Krell and the Council were planning to eliminate humanity as a potential threat. Now we're all working together against the real dangers. Later that evening, Admiral Hayes met with the human leadership team in their private chamber. The walls displayed images of Earth, blue oceans, green forests, and the gleaming cities that had survived centuries of human conflict before finding peace. "The galaxy has changed more in 1 year than in the previous 1,000, Victoria observed, all because the Council encountered a species that approached threats differently. Joseph nodded thoughtfully. "We showed them that erasing enemies isn't about destruction. It's about transformation. The Krell are no longer our enemies. The old Council is no longer a threat. We didn't destroy them. We helped them become something new." Diana looked up from her data tablet. "The Altarians tried to warn the galaxy about external threats, and they were destroyed for it. We delivered the same warning but survived to prepare actual defenses. The difference," Eric added, "is that we didn't just tell them about the threat. We showed them a path forward."